Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great Sunday. I hope you're having a great weekend. I know any of you guys that are Audioboom shareholders, I'm sure you're having a great weekend, and that started on Friday. What a move it was from Audioboom on Friday. Stock was up 18%, and in fact, at some points, the stock was actually up even more than that. The stock was up 32% at the best point on Friday, which is a mega move of the stock. And overall, Audioboom in general, it's just been a fantastic time for it. I know Friday was great, and I was celebrating a little bit. When this big bump happened, I was having a cup of tea, and I was saw the notification came through on Trading 212, and I was like, oh, that looks nice. And then I opened it up, and I just saw it kept going up, and I was posting on the Discord. I was like, I think there's some sort of takeover news. The only way that I could see that jumping up that much is some sort of takeover rumours, and we'll get on to exactly what that was in a second. But yeah, overall, I mean, last 5 days, it's been a good 5 days. The stock is up 30% if we go in the last year. Stock is now 210% in the last year, so that's absolutely amazing. I remember when I first started calling and covering Audioboom, which was a brand new stock into my portfolio at the start of the year. And sometimes I say this quite often. It's great when we get when we buy these stocks for 2 to 5 years holds, but when it also comes that quick, that in a year after holding the stock, that's obviously really lovely. When those gains that you expect for the next 2 to 5 years happen quicker, that's absolutely amazing when that happens. But as well as that, it's also a point why you do individual stock picking. I mean, imagine in the last year to be up over 100% on an investment. Like, there's nothing like the stock market in that you're able to make wealth from. Like, to double your money under a 12-month time frame. There's just not really anything that can come to that sort of ability. And quite often, a lot of people talk up, index investing, S&P investing, which is great. And, a lot of people should do it. The majority of people should do index investing and take that risk away. But if you can do individual stock picking, these are the reasons why. This is why you do individual stock picking, to make those big amounts of money so fast. And obviously that's been achieved a little bit with Audioboom. On the Patreon, I did drop my UK portfolio review if you've not seen it, if you remember on there. But also, you guys would have seen that I actually did take a little bit of profit off Audioboom on Friday. So on Friday, I did do a trim after the bounce of about 5%. And then it kept on going up. So when it got to around about 700, about £7 on Friday, did then take another 5% off for 118% gain. So nice to lock in some profit there. The news originally came out that it was from Sky News, said that Audioboom are talking about a potential sale, and already kind of talking to buyers. So that suggested like the buy was quite significantly on, and obviously that's why we saw the big jump in Audioboom. I think if somebody, I was on the LSE the other day, and I was seeing some of the talk about what people thought like Audioboom was going to get bought out for, and I was like, I know this is an exciting time, but some of those people were getting carried away. Some of these guys were saying like a 200% premium from where the stock was on the open on Friday. I was like, we can celebrate, we can get excited, but I think a few people are getting a bit carried away. I think like somewhere between a 50 to 80% premium would be somewhere where Audioboom would get bought out with, and with it already at the time of like when it started to get to £7, I was like, okay, you've priced in a bit of that acquisition there price already, so that's why I kind of took it off the table. And quite often, as we see with Sky News as well, and sometimes this sort of spaces, that sometimes these acquisition talks can get hyped up a little bit more than where they're actually at. So this when this came out, it sounded like the talks were quite significantly happening. And I was like, sometimes that doesn't always happen. And with the big jump that we had in the share price, and then working out, okay, from where we were at about a £5 stock, I mean, I could see about 50 to 80% premium. So then when you're already having like a 20, 30% jump, you've had some of your premiums kind of getting baked in there already. I still think it'll go probably higher from the £7 or the £8 range. I think you might be looking towards, I don't know, a kind of maybe £8 to maybe £10-ish. I don't know, somewhere around there. So I thought let's just take a little bit of risk off the table. And you've seen before, like if these talks do seem like they're going to fall through, you'll see a bit of retracing going on back to the £5 range. And the other thing is that I was waiting for an RNS. I was waiting for I thought Audioboom were going to come out and they're going to reflect on like, what is the position that Audioboom are in. Are they talking to buyers? Is there potential, has there been an offer being placed on the table, and the takeover code is activated? I was waiting for their RNS, and I was going to talk about this on Friday, and that's why I never talked about it on Friday, because I was waiting for Audioboom to respond, and by the time I actually finished recording the video is when Audioboom came out after the market closed at 5 o'clock to talk about the speculation in the press. What they said is that the company can confirm that it has appointed Jay Goodwin to manage a review process which involves the consideration of options or strategy options and the potential sale of the company. So they kind of say like, this is to expand partnerships, but it's also from a point of view that potentially could the company be sold. So it's kind of like, if there's an offer on the table, we will consider it. We are up for sale if anybody wants to put an offer in. So it does open it up to the market, but obviously that suggests like there's been not really approach yet from another company. So from where it was in the Sky News, where I think it kind of said like the company had already been talking to some other companies, which I think if it is going to get acquired, it's going to be like the likes of the Heart podcast? Yeah, iHeartMedia, that's the one, and Fox Corporation. So overall, like as well, 115 million isn't for the size of them. That's not going to be obviously by the time they actually pay for it, it would be a bit more than that. But it's not going to be a major acquisition for them, so it should be quite easy for them to get something like this. So yeah, saying that we're up for sale, but no offers there on the table at the moment, and you can see here the board confirms that it's not received any proposals. If we are going to probably hear from anything about someone acquiring them, I think it'll be in like the next couple of weeks, otherwise it might go a little bit quiet. I think they did do something very similar back in 2020, but it never ended up going somewhere, so we'll see if it happens again. But yeah, from where it was from the Sky article to where we're at, I think the takeover or potential of a takeover happening is a little bit less. Like it sounded like it was very likely, and it's not, and that's not the case at the moment. Could they get taken over? Yeah, I think like if they're up for sale, somebody will be very interested in probably acquiring Audioboom at the moment. But I don't think it will hear anything of it too soon yet. What I would expect the stock to do now is, because the stock I think priced in that there was an offer probably there on the table, or a good chunk of it on the table, and there isn't. What I would expect on Monday now is probably the stock to pull back. I think the stock probably will pull back maybe 10-15% on Monday. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, and that's exactly why as well, when on Friday I did trim 5% on position, and then trimming another 5% as it carried on going up, just that in case this Sky News article is a load of rubbish, and it's not as far on as what they were saying, and that seemed the case. So yeah, a little happy that I did take a little bit of profit on the table, and now I'm in a position where if they do get acquired, then I'll make money as they get taken out for the premium. And then if the stock kind of drops a little bit from here, when it kind of prices out not getting taken over, I've made money on this artificial bounce anyway. But overall, it's a good position for Audioboom to be in. I do think there's a potential they will get acquired at some point. So it does make sense that there's people sniffing around it. And whatever happens, we'll see what happens. But the last year has been amazing, and obviously great money made on Friday. And we'll see what more information comes out about people potentially acquiring it in the next couple of weeks. I think if we're going to get any bids on the table, there will be in the next couple of weeks. So we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, congratulations to any of you Audioboom shareholders, and I'll see you on probably tomorrow's video.